Welcome back to On the Rise, as Canada will play Cote d'Ivoire, the reigning AFCON champions, in the second matchday of the inaugural Canadian Shield. But Canada has a great opportunity to win and earn the first ever Canadian Shield title. But more importantly, they'd be doing it by making a major statement against some really exciting footballing nations such as Ukraine and Cote d'Ivoire, who pose very different tests to Canada, completely playing different styles of play as well against regions and confederations that Canada never usually gets to face in the UEFA and AFCON, and playing one who are the reigning champions of their confederation. And Cote d'Ivoire poses a very exciting test to the Canadian men's national team, completely different to what Ukraine gave Canada, and we're going to preview it and predict my predicted lineup as well as the score. But before we do, guys, drop down below into the comments. Let me know your predicted lineups, your predicted scores, and thoughts ahead of the match. If you enjoy the content, guys, make sure to smash that like button and also hit that sub button, because we're moving ever closer to 700 subscribers and the support has been absolutely incredible. But we're going to dive straight into the preview, because this is a very exciting game for the Canadian men's national team, taking on Cote d'Ivoire, the reigning champions of the African Cup of Nations, and a side with a very exciting style of play, and also a team who came into the Canadian Shield with one eye and completely thinking about that second match day against the Canadian men's national team and against the hosts of the World Cup 2026. As Cote d'Ivoire walked into the game against New Zealand in match day 1, playing their backups, playing their second strings, and having that eye on the second game against Canada, playing such players like Guesson and Nicolas Pepe, who are very good, but by no means are their starters. When you look at their bench, they rested players such as Jeremy Boga, Simon Adingra, Sebastian Haller, their starting three front line, and their two best number sixes and their holding midfielders in Franck Kesse and Ibrahim Sangare, as well as their best center back in Kosunu and right back in Wilfred Singo. They rested their starters, their best players, which tells you that they're really excited to play Canada and are going to go all out to beat the Canadian men's national team, which is a very exciting test for Canada because they have a very good style of play. Extremely fast, very pacey, and love to control the ball. This game against Canada, I expect to be like a basketball match, back and forth, which is really exciting for the Canadian men's national team because it plays right into the hands of Canada. And yes, Cote d'Ivoire could look to just go out and stun Canada and sit in a low block, look to soak up pressure and stun Canada to play a style that doesn't mesh well for the Canadian men's national team and what Jesse Marsch wants to do. Jesse Marsch doesn't want the ball at sometimes. He wants to press. He wants to be on the front foot. He wants to use the pace in transition, of course. But if Cote d'Ivoire sits back, soaks up pressure in that low block, as much as I'd love to see Canada in a track meet playing very quick football, trying to break down a low block is something that the Canadian men's national team needs to do. And doing it against opposition and quality opposition such as Cote d'Ivoire would be a great test. So I wouldn't complain about it either way, but I truly expect this game to be like a basketball match for the Canadian men's national team against some very good attackers that will really test this Canadian back line differently than the Ukrainian attack did with Sudakov, with Yaremchuk, and with Siankov, which is why they're both really good tests for Canada. Nations we never get to play, confederations we never usually get to play, which is why I still believe beating Cote d'Ivoire needs to happen. Canada has to go out there and beat Cote d'Ivoire. Just like I said for that first game against Ukraine, Canada has to go out and win once again. Yes, it's just a friendly. Yes, it's just a glorified friendly tournament. But winning these games against quality opposition who will be at the World Cup, who are nations that you don't ever get to play, styles of play you don't usually get to see, you have to go out there and play your best football. You have to go out there and win these sorts of games because they're statement wins. They're wins that the casual supporters see and they're like, wow, this is a great performance. This is the Canadian team we want to watch, we want to support, we want to be along for the ride. And the more fans you impress, the more supporters you get along for the journey, the more Canadian supporters you'll have for the long run. And beating a side like Cote d'Ivoire, like the champions of Africa, would be a huge way in doing that. So beating Cote d'Ivoire would be a major step forward, and I really believe Canada has to go out there and beat Cote d'Ivoire. But we're going to jump straight into the lineup predictions, guys, because I think it could be a very different lineup to what Jesse Marsh had against Ukraine in some sense. We're going to look at the goalkeeper first, because I don't believe it'll be Maxim Crepeau. I think it'll be Dane St. Clair. I'd be shocked if Maxim Crepeau got both games, and if he did, it would be a true statement to who is his number one. But I really expect both goalkeepers to be given one game each, to be tested in one game each, and get the opportunity, which is why Dane St. Clair is getting the nod against Cote d'Ivoire from me. But moving into my back line and who I think should start for Jesse Marsh's side against Cote d'Ivoire. From right to left, Nico Seeger starts at right back, Jamie Knight-Labelle partners Derek Cornelius at the heart of the back four, and Sam Adekubi returns to the starting lineup. And Nico Seeger for me has to start at right back. It is no question for me. He deserves to start once again. A good performance against Ukraine from Nico Seeger. There were some hiccups, there were some sketchy moments in that performance, but he came through it in the end. He had some very good tackles, was very good at pressing on the front foot, and showed his quality at right back. And it's not his out-and-out position that he is preferred to. He is a number 6, he is a holding midfielder, but is versatile enough to play right back, which is why it's so exciting to see Nico Seeger continue to thrive there. But he needs more minutes, he needs time there, because he's going to be stepping in more than likely to play a big part at the CONCACAF Gold Cup, so give him more minutes at right back, continue to build that chemistry for Nico Seeger. But Derek Cornelius gets a nod at left center back from me, and I expect Jamie Knight-Labelle to partner him. Jamie Knight-Labelle got the opportunity against Ukraine. He came on as a substitute to replace Derek Cornelius and got that opportunity. He's had a very good season at the club level with Crew Alexandra and has a very good chance to start for the Canadian men's national team against Cote d'Ivoire. Very physical, very pacey center back as well, but Luc de Fougerols looked absolutely gassed in that match against Ukraine. Very exhausted. You could see it after the game. He talked about it in the interview. And Luc de Fougerols, how good he performed, is going to be starting at the Gold Cup, and definitely should be. He should be starting in replacement of Moise Bombito next to Derek Cornelius for the CONCACAF Gold Cup. So you don't want to see him get injured. You want him healthy. You want him fit. You want him prepared. So give Jamie Knight-Labelle the game opportunity to go up and prove himself against a very good front line of Cote d'Ivoire. And at left back, I think it'll be Sam Adekubi. Yes, Zorhan Bassong could start once again, but Zorhan Bassong is not even on the CONCACAF Gold Cup roster. He had an incredible performance against Ukraine, and I really liked what I saw from him. But give it to Sam Adekubi. Let him build his fitness. Let him get back into the lineup. Let him get prepared and used to Jesse Marsh's setup once again in preparation for the CONCACAF Gold Cup. Let's move on to the midfield. As right from left, we got Tajon Buchanan, Nathan Saliba, Ismail Kone, and Jaden Nelson. Tajon Buchanan speaks for itself. It is a no-brainer pick. You have to keep his confidence running, and you have to keep letting him deliver on the pitch. He is growing in confidence. He looks like his old self. He's playing terrific football, and every time he touches the ball, he looks like he's going to score or create something. Give Tajon Buchanan the start once again. Let him continue to build his confidence. Jaden Nelson, for me, has to start. The way he came on in that match to replace Jacob Schaffelberg, who had an up and down performance, Jaden Nelson came on and looked terrific. His dribbling, his pace, his ability to get in behind, and his intelligence in the final third is very exciting. The way he helped create that chance for himself, the intricate link-up play, the quick thinking in the final third, and having a fantastic shot, yes, albeit it hit the post, but it was a very well-struck ball that I don't think he could have shot better. If he had it any more tighter to the goalkeeper, it gets saved. It was a very well-placed shot, unfortunately hitting the post. But for me, Jaden Nelson and Tajon Buchanan both have to start in this match on the wings. In the heart of the midfield, I'm going with Nathan Saliba. He deserves a start. He played incredibly well against Ukraine, both going forward as well as defending. Most tackles, the most ground duels won against Ukraine. He has to start once again. And I think Ismail Kone needs to start against Cote d'Ivoire. He needs to build up his fitness, his confidence, get back into the lineup in preparation to replace Stefan Eustáquio for the CONCACAF Gold Cup, who is away with FC Porto at the FIFA Club World Cup. As well, like I said, I think this game is going to be like a basketball match. I expect it to be very quick, very fast, and very quick in transition. Now, having a midfield like Ismail Kone and Nathan Saliba, Jaden Nelson and Tajon Buchanan, who are both willing to go forwards and backwards to be able to work their backsides off like dogs, to defend, to create chances, to get forward, it is the perfect midfield. And you want the pace, quickness, and ability in this lineup. So that will be my predicted midfield. But moving forward, So far, it's a no-brainer. Jesse Marsch has named Kyle Larin in the press conference as his captain, who will be getting the armband at the start. And next to him, I'm going to say Daniel Jebbison. Daniel Jebbison got 45 minutes, and he got a decent cameo against Ukraine. It wasn't anything special. It wasn't anything terrible. He got to come on. He got to show his skill, his potential in a game where Canada was already up 3-0, where they didn't need to go score. And this would be a great opportunity to start Daniel Jebbison in a game where Canada wants to score, wants to play in the front foot. Daniel Jebbison can show his ability, show his talent, and hopefully get on the score sheet and score in his first start for the Canadian men's national team. On the other hand, Kyle Larin gets the start. He gets the armband. To some people, they might not be happy with that. They might not be happy hearing Kyle Larin starting for the Canadian men's national team still. For me, I'm not upset with that at all. Kyle Larin still scored the most goals for his club side in Mallorca, playing in La Liga. Yes, playing in a certain league doesn't mean pish posh, but Kyle Larin still has a lot to offer on the field as a striker for the Canadian men's national team. He is the best striker at hold-up play to play in the mid-block for the Canadian national team. You can play through him in build-up play. Kyle Larin's very good on the ball to hold it up, to lay it off, to play through him, which is still very exciting. And he'll give you a different option. And him and Daniel Jebbison, between Kyle Larin and Daniel Jebbison, for me, are the two strikers who have the most to prove in this lineup, in this roster, in preparation for 2026. So I believe they both deserve a start, and I think Tony Oluwase will get a significant amount of minutes in this game. Whether splitting 45 minutes with Kyle Larin or Daniel Jebbison, one of them, Daniel Jebbison or Tony Oluwase, will get the start and then get 45 minutes consecutively. So it'll be very interesting to see who starts next to Kyle Larin, but I think Jonathan David should be rested ahead of the CONCACAF Gold Cup, and Promise David picking up that injury. Yes, came back negative on the MRI. He is healthy, but let him recover for the Gold Cup. We don't want an Alphonso Davies 2.0 situation. For me, guys, I think Canada's going to win this very well. I think they'll go out and win this 3-0. They'll get that clean sheet that they very much want. They feel hard done by not getting the clean sheet against Ukraine when it was well deserved. I think Canada's going to lock down that back line, get a 3-0 win against Cote d'Ivoire, and play it very strong. I think they want to. I think they need to. And getting this win on home turf, on home soil, against another very good nation is a huge statement. And they need to go out and beat Cote d'Ivoire. Not only for their confidence, but for the supporters and for themselves in the wake, in the opening to the CONCACAF Gold Cup. But do you guys believe they have to go out and beat Cote d'Ivoire? What are your guys' thoughts on my predicted lineup, and what were yours as well? Drop a score prediction, hit that sub button, guys. It really helps out the content, and hit that sub button as we move closer to 700 subscribers.